Check, check. Check, 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 check. We're not going to do that. Oh, wait a second.
So perfect. That'll do. That will do. Right. Is that really how that's working? That's hard to imagine. Still getting set up. Hold on. I think I got a bad echo. One moment, folks. Technical.
Okay. Bingo. All right. Thanks everybody for joining. Nathaniel Hanks here. We got some really good stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to get into it. Check out YouTube there. A bunch of names are going by, but we got something pretty amazing tonight. And we will get into it. All right, just letting the room fill up a little bit. Enjoy a little bit of the jazz. Check out Pause, maybe, on YouTube. Pause, maybe. Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome. If I didn't know any better, my computer says I'm alone in this space, but I know better because I'm also on a phone. That's how they get you. Um, Thanks for being here. The title of the space is Theorems. Why is that, right? Why is that indeed? Shout out the two of you that I see anyway that know what's up. Everybody else, welcome, more than welcome. But you guys think something incredible really happened, and I haven't talked about it yet, and I'm hoping that Hollow comes around here. Something pretty amazing popped out of the research. What's it going to change? I don't know, man. Not trying to dance around it. Let me make sure that I'm catching all this over there on the YouTube. I'll put this up here shortly, and people can see what it's all about. Hold on, I got my volume was low. That's probably better for the. All right, that's probably better. Let me check in. Oh, cool. Oh, great. Hey, what's up? The chat over on YouTube. Nice. Yeah. Sounds great. Pretty quiet, but it's better now. I need to be louder. I think I did it. Thank you, audience, for helping out. That's some real time action. I gotta love it. Thank you. Everybody over there. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Well, in a minute we're gonna get into this. I'm kind of warming up. I'm pretty tickled. Tom, I would love to have you up here if you'd like to speak, buddy. Something amazing happened, and I need to like ring an alarm for some nerds. So get this, okay? I'm getting warmed up here. So I took the thesis, and I sent it through deep perplexity search to see if it was an original. My goal was to see if it was an original work, and there were some very interesting results that came up that people had followed some of these things. Names that I had seen before, Moffat, for example. Oh wait, what's happening? Why is that not? Oh, you won't find Moffat again, little Mr. Moffat. All right. Anyway, the short answer is no. There is no other. Now, maybe that's kind of easy to do because who's talking about Bob Grenier right now? You know what I mean? But So as soon as you do that, but that's not the only thing. Anyway, I'm feeling good. I got the okie dokie from some of these things that it really is significant. But that's not that. That's not it, right? That's not at all what's going on. Um, Tom, let me cut to the chase. 12 theorems popped out of this whenever I was looking for mathematical proofs between some of the relationships. I got 12 theorems that so far are just rock solid logical deductions taken what they are. And there's 12. And it's become exceptional. This is really taken on kind of like a new angle. One of the keys turned whenever it was holography, harmonics, fractal toroidal geometry. I also worked in the virial theorem that Bob Grenier had mentioned in one of his, not the last presentation, but the one before that. Because that gets you into this like bubble dynamics. Love it, right? And then I started looking at some of the synthesis that was already there. What had popped out of topological knots was churn numbers, CHERN numbers, as a way of identifying winding and topology. And lo and behold, these things share the same mathematical, like it's like the same numbers. And it's so these theorems come out as just a logical train from given mathematical. It's like these things are this and that's that, and so that's that. And there's 12 of these. And I wanted to go through them. There's a couple of other good ones in here. I mean, other good takeaways, let's call them. I think that the opening does it pretty well, where geometry is frequency, topology is harmonics, and the aether exists. Also add that vortex toroidal formations on a fractal level are organizing all this stuff. But yeah, yeah. So I've got these. I've shared it. I've it's in a reply to the space. So if you just want to look at it, just go to the space. I don't think I have a pill, or maybe I do here. No, it's a ghost pill. So if you just go to the post for the space, it's a doc sharing link, and it's a PDF, and it's about 3 pages, and it's just a I haven't really dug into it because it just kind of snapped together like magnets. These things logically followed, and I had to do a comparison, against some of these numbers and following some intuitions. And I had 9, and then I had a couple more ideas, and then 3 more popped out. um, and yeah, yeah. So I'm smiling ear to ear because I think I've got this vortex case laid out front to back, but I want to get it hemmed up exactly. And then I'm very excited to propose it to people like Stan Deyo, who's writing a book all about toroidals, basically. He said so in the last space that he did. Yeah, all right. All right. Without further ado, let me just click over to the my screens for just a second. I'm gonna put a little bit of jazz on. If you'll go to YouTube, you can see this, and I'm gonna go through them. Very exciting times. It feels like very lucky to have been able to. Yeah. Um, I think the space is messed up for me though, because I only see myself. It occurs to me other. It only says space as well. I'm running it on YouTube, so let me just try and run this back again. It occurs to me other people might have been trying to say hello, and we are here for that. might have been. Okay, that seemed to have fixed it. Okay, that seemed to have fixed it. So again, thank you all for being here. Enjoy this little bit of music, and we'll be right here. We're going to review the theorems. Also, a couple of other interesting names popped out. This is setting the table, so to speak, and then we'll try and do all these things and then wrap it up. But there was also some new interesting leads that go back further. New dates, new people, so we can talk about the timeline a little bit. It feels nice. I have 3 T's. I have the thesis, the theorems, and the timeline. And we've been looking a lot at the timeline, but I want to go over these theorems and this thesis tonight, just focused solely on the science. Yeah, I hope people, without me just shouting about it, it's hard to convey how cool this is. But anyhow, do take a look at the actual document, and I'll pull it up here in just a second. All right, and if you're following along on the YouTube, I guess I should do some good business and share a link to that as well. Let me do that. Even though I don't have a pill, so we're just doing what we can, but we're stitching together some some different capabilities here. I want to say thanks to everybody over there in the chat and letting me know real quick what sounds bad so we can start sounding good. I'm going to post. No, I'm not. I'm going to reply to this space. Just reply to it. I think that things are busted, but let's not dwell on it. And there we are. All right. Now, if you are over there on the YouTube, we will be up on Deciphering TV again shortly. It is just getting better over there. So we're going to have some functionality built out and some really cool things coming up with that, but it's only taking a step backwards to go forwards. Now, if you are over there, you can see this is just a draft. Actually, I need to do that. You guys can follow along here. This is office hours, where I'm going to, as I do, write. Okay. All right, very good. This is not what I wanted to get into right now. It's just more of a show that we can get into it later. This is where the history lies and some of the details. But the theorems are actually, I think I have a good latex version, actually. Just one moment. Anyway, I'm working on the, yes. Okay, here we go. Boom. It's hard to get these all together, so I think I'm going to end up having this is why it's separate from the other thing. It's 11 pages, rather. Theorems and proofs. Mathematical. And so I don't get this either, but it's just, it's a theorem, so it just follows logically from what you've got set up. So that's what I think is interesting about it. Just to kind of define that. shortly, and I'm going to share this now on the screen. What I'm kind of afraid about is that this is just very good and maybe original, and I'm lucky to have been able to put it together with the all the knowledge and then all the modern tools and research and stuff like that to have been able to formalize something. Um, but I don't know, and this is where we're at. This is in that review. But it's comprehensible. I can't check that the math does follow, but if the ideas of it, if you can understand, if it's like a two-way street, there's like the spoken language and the written language, and the mathematics is the written, so to speak, and but you can speak it, and it is consistent. Then here we are. Um, uh, yeah, open source research here. So I'm dodging. I feel a little bit as perhaps we might have some other folks coming in just a little bit. So let me just go through one theorem. How about that? And then maybe we'll jump around, or I'll just decide to do a speed run. There's a lot to cover, but I want to make sure that it's optimized for whenever we go through this, because keep my powder dry, so to speak. But um, also, I don't feel like I have to represent this so much because I'm sharing it. Here it is. It's available already in the fullness of time, so we can take a little bit of time with it. But this may be, yeah, we'll see. All right, Theorem 1. The Euler vortex identity. Yeah. Okay. Geometry frequency equivalence. First theorem. And it's described just rigorously mathematically as a proof. Like, I mean, it's simple things, but it's just the connection. Um, but we had this before, right? Geometry and frequency being equivalent, but now there's a formalization for it, um, which I'm happy. It makes me feel grounded, um, because we've only had it abstractly understood in a certain way. But there we go. Uh, a Euler vortex identity, a geometry frequency equivalence. I'm sure that is probably an established, thing. Maybe all these are. Maybe all these theorems are separate. Let's look at two. Toroidal resonance catastrophe. Rational surface instability. Consider a toroidal magnetic confinement system with a major radius r and a minor radius a and magnetic field b, so that math. Define the safety vector, math. If at some radius we have math with coprime integers m and n, and the field lines on the flux surface are closed curves of finite length. Moreover, a resonant radial perturbation, math, generates a magnetic island of width, math, centered on math. Proof, field line equation on a magnetic surface, math, field line satisfies math, hence math. Integration and closure. Um, Resonant perturbations, now consider perturbation math, resonant surface math, standard reduced. This is a longer one. Okay, next theorem. Let's just go through the highlights of them here. Golden ratio stability optimization by a KAM Lagrange theorem. Starts off with the Hamiltonian, a torus. For fractional virial energy partition. So that's going into the distribution of energy. That's that virial bit. Virial, like virile, means strength and power and stuff. And so the energy and how it moves. Now, the cool part here is what I found in research and intuition was fractionals and fractional calculus. Uh, and, um, and so the fractional connection ties into holography, ties into harmonics, and therefore it ties into how you can distribute energy. All right, moving on to 5. Holographic entropy bound for toroidal systems. So this is where the surface topology represents the entropy, not the interior. Fractional topological phase, Anyon harmonic theorem. Two-dimensional topological system at Laughlin filling factor, the exchange of two quasi-particles, So here you have fractional phases and fractional metrics, which gives you a huge depth and richness, essentially. All right. Unified mathematical framework, again, Theorem 7, Beltrami helicity variation principle. So magnetic field in a plasma volume with perfectly conducting boundary. Yeah, this is about the force-free fields and how it's energy conservation thing here with helicity. All right, 8. We're 2/3 there. 3-wave parametric resonance scale bridging theorem. Nonlinear dispersive media supports waves with dispersive relation W to the K. Non-trivial resonant energy exchange among these 3 modes occurs if and only if the resonance conditions are satisfied. In the parametric pump configuration, the growth rate of the daughter modes driven by a pump mode scales linearly with the pump amplitude. So this also could get into... This one's a pretty long one here, but it does get complicated. All right, number 9. Superradiance, collective coherence theorem. Identical 2-level quantum emitters confined within a volume. That's the emission wavelength. So the emitters are indistinguishable with respect to the radiation field. This gets into our high harmonic generations, and yeah, so the scaling there is going to go along with we can expect some of our these collective coherence is going to be big for the coherent energy transformations. So collective spin descriptions, spin operators, working together. All right, Theorem 10. Fractal toroidal dimension, the Grenier scaling theorem. Oh, that's great. So you have a hierarchical toroidal structure and a configuration, and there's this mathematic formulation. Some of the stuff might already be... and it goes to 48. Okay, there we go. Very cool. All right. There are 2 others. This is not including. I will find them. But here we go. So we've got, what do we establish? Vortex wave equivalence, toroidal stability, golden ratio number theory, fractal virial scaling, holographic information encoding, topological phases and harmonics, force-free self-organization, resonance scale bridging, collective amplification, and fractal toroidal geometry, formalized mathematically. The reason they all go together is because they all go together in theme, basically. Now, this is very exciting, but I need the community. So that's that. So I'll save that on the back burner until might have somebody swing in and they can take a look at it. But that's gonna have to be something to pass around for math. I'm gonna save that for Larry Reed. All Right, folks. 30 minutes in, not doing too terribly bad. I want to get into some of the earlier. I want to get into the 1700s. There were some cool things that popped up connecting the timeline and giving it a little bit more of a foundational base. So we'll dig into that in just a second. Please do just enjoy the music for just a moment. Right, and we're back. All right. So let's zoom in here just a little bit so people can see that well. If not, this is a draft, but I wanted to go back because one thing was I was happy to tie in Euler earlier on, and also we have a couple of other folks that popped up. We've got, of course, Bernoulli and Bernoulli's principle with the fluid flow analysis. But another big one that I thought was really a good find was John Scott Russell, who formulated the soliton. And yeah, that would lead up to the Korteweg de Vries pronunciation. But yeah, that's all before Helmholtz and his vortexes, more Kelvin. Or Guthrie's knot theory. MJM Hill's come up recently on a spherical vortex, 1894. So that's solidly toroidal, geometries and sphere vortex phenomena and stuff like that coming up before 1900. There was a few others, of course. We've got to contribute, Hans Alphen to the magnetohydrodynamics there. Also, Fay and theorization on ball lightning as early as 1891. That rotating charged sphere forming in whirlwinds and cyclones. That gives you, there's a mathematics there for rotating plasma configurations before 1900. Then you've got them experimentally derived with Tesla before 1900 as well. So, quite interesting. J.S. Townsend, W.M. Thornton. You guys are all interested in it right at the turn of the century there. Scroll now. Those are some of the big ones. Got R.P. Shaw in here with his toroidal spin shock waves. Mach diamonds, you may have heard of. Those flows that form in the standing wave patterns behind exhaust. Behind jets. where we get Mach from, everybody. And special thanks to Tom Hudson for the lead on Arthur Robert Kantrowitz. Yep. Magnetohydrodynamics. Set up the science court concept. Huge. And this is going to be in 50s before 55 there, before Bostic in 56 is going to, define plasmoids. Also worth mentioning here is Martin David Kruskal. He advanced solitons as a concept and magnetohydrodynamics. There's another fellow with a Kohlsrud that I his name, but yes, again, working with plasma as well. Edward Freiman there, Bernstein. These folks were all working in this era towards fusion, Project Sherwood, etc. But we're not doing a full history of all that stuff right now. Andrei Sakharov, making sure they're there. Timothy Boyer has popped up for stochastic electrodynamics, which is interesting. I want to dig more into him, but his papers have come up and have been worth citing. And then, of course, Townsend Brown and all those folks. Y'all know the story. Perhaps we'll have time to go through it all in one big thing. It's probably a film or a series of them, but all right. Yep. Here are the 7 principles. I mentioned that we had a couple of those theorems before. Here's some principles: counter rotation, toroidal geometry, topological protection, nested hierarchies, holographic information encoding, phase frequency dynamics, spin orbit coupling. Boom. Talking with a buddy last night. Wouldn't it be fun to replicate the Boyd-Bushman anti-gravity experiment? Okay, no, I know people are listening to these things, and but you know what? If you do it anyway, it's for science. So if you rip me off, you're just it's a gotcha. Take the idea and do it. Someone needs to replicate the Boyd-Bushman experiment with super slow-mo cameras, and if they don't beat me to it, we're going to be doing this. Hollow Cipher and I have been discussing a couple of experiments that would rock the world, that being one of them. Electrogravimagnetics proven, right? So yeah, let's not get popular yet. All right, don't let's stay small here. All right, guys, don't. I know you were thinking about just giving me a million listeners, but don't do it. We need to stay small so that we can surprise the world with this experiment on YouTube. And then what would they do? Action Labs would have to do a reproduction on it. Veritasium would too, because you just screwed 2 magnets together and dropped them off at the same time as something else that weighed had the same amount of mass, and one's gonna not fall as fast routinely. And then there's other variations. If you're in on the know, you would be able to do the experiment, with the variations. You might also be able to work on a Podklinov replication at the same time. Anyway, those are some of the big ticket things to come up. But yeah, in the link, 10 theorems. There's 2 more, but I'm holding those secret. And by secret, I mean I just can't find them right now, but I got them. And these are just logical deductions that popped out of the mathematics involved with all this stuff. Topology is harmonics. Frequency is geometry. They're not metaphors. Toroidal topologies, etc., etc., etc. Laid out some of the new scientists too. Doing good on time. Where are we at? All right, 45. Good. All right. ahead of time here. Wanted to see what I could do in an hour. So hopefully we'll get some folks in here to maybe to discuss some of this. I'd love to get a math whiz to just check out any one of these, and I'm afraid this is like scary good. I'm afraid it's quite scary good, and I'll need to be doing more due diligence research to make sure that this is. I know it's wholly original, but I don't know what parts are. And I want to make sure that if someone else has a fractal toroidal geometric theorem mathematically, that I give credit. But this stuff is pretty neat because it just falls out. It just magnets snap together whenever it's logically consistent, and the numbers just are the same kinds of numbers you need. Again, not topologies, not like rope, not topologies working as churn numbers for skyrmion magnetic twist fields. It's incredible. So we have a theorem here to say exactly how frequency is geometry. That's one of them. And even though this isn't the language that I can speak, I'm glad that it can be written down in this way and communicated as such, because there's no tomfoolery. Even like the Maxwell equations, you'd have to be like, well, if you look at it this other way, you're kind of cutting out all these potentials. You can't really hide them. So, yep. Intervals are ratios, not differences. Multiplicative structure governs harmonics. These are 7 more principles. Equal ratios sound equally spaced. That's logarithmic structure fundamental. That's a logarithmic perception, it says. Integer simplicity. Simple integer ratios create consonants through harmonic alignment. These are just principles. This isn't groundbreaking. Harmonic series, there's a geometric correspondence where frequency ratios map to geometric forms, i.e. cymatics, etc. Topological winding, where musical intervals equal toroidal mode numbers, which are winding ratios determining stability. And then golden optimization, so yeah, you've got that phi providing maximum stability by being maximally irrational. Avoids all resonances. Isn't that a beautiful maximally irrational, avoiding all resonance? Yeah. Interestingly put. All right, and now if you're following along, I'm just cruising through. Yeah, but get caught up in this. But I will be back to drafting the thesis proper. But these theorems are done. Like it's like you can't improve on like a square birdhouse really here. So it just is what it is. It's a square. So yeah, and I'm excited to put that up against something because it's invisible ink. Who knows what's going on there? Anyway, all right, folks. Well, welcome. Well, hello there. Shout out, folks. Feel free to come up if you'd like to just chat in general. I'm going to close things up on the stream here in just a few minutes and say thank you to the viewers over there. We'll do another thing Thursday. There's going to be more to go into with the timeline itself. This was just the theorem. I'll be working on the thesis, presenting the timeline, then the thesis, and I'm working on that, and then by the end of the year, it'll be really tight. This is all working towards a presentation and a video about it, but and a publication. And this kind of fell into my lap today. I just asked, could you you just run a check and make sure that none of the stuff is the same thing as the other thing, technically. Um, can you prove it mathematically? Besides the intuition, Well, golly gee, yeah. There's holographic principles that map right onto these harmonic ratios. Good night. Hmm. Hmm. Not topology numbers are churn numbers. It's wild. Right. Thanks. I know. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. All right, folks. Well, let me go over here. What do I got? I got some good. Check out. That out. Okay. All right. For those looking for it, there's the. This is an old appendix right here, scrolling by, but there's a lot of information in it. And if you have that braid draft, you probably have all these names. This is just for the lay person out there. I'll be publishing all this stuff whenever it's tight. Until then, uh, I only give it to anyone who asks. So it's a very tight ship. You just have to request it. And then some people don't even request it. I'm still offering it. So, it's one way or another. All right. Folks, so what we wanted to do tonight, we wanted to go over the theorems that popped out of these mathematical correspondences that logically follow from the assumptions and the facts already on the case. So it just turns out that these things are consistent, and there's a theorem describing those consistencies. That popped out tonight, and I was happy to share them also tonight. Then new people in the timeline, going back a little bit, talking about Bernoulli and some of those other folks, R.P. Shaw, shouting out Faye and some of the early ball lightning folks before 1900. And then setting the stage here for a more integrated timeline where that story is going to be more fleshed out, though it's only touched on here lightly to get the core idea of the thesis, so to speak, which is that these vortex and fractal toroidal geometric structures are a organizing principle of the universe as we know it. As above, so below. Stars and blood and even space. You see that fade was actually just a progression of scales of and so it's an illusion of progression. It's 9 bit left anyway. Fractals. Folks, enjoy just a little bit of the jazz. I'm going to review my notes and maybe play a little video and roll it out. I want to say thanks, everyone here. I think we might have one. I bored everybody with my Eric Weinstein thing, but I'm going to get that published. Check this out. This is what I wanted to find. All right, here it goes. It's only 10 seconds, so you gotta listen close. But published. You gotta listen close.
Concept.
I said pretend, okay?
It was pretend.
Numbers.
Well, the most compelling number to me is not a number at all. It's a concept.
I said pretend, okay?
I was pretending. My favorite number is Euler's number.
Oh no, I've created a time loop. Yeah, pardon me, everybody. Well, anyhow, shout out to Veep. Oh no, I can hear it. All right. I've made a warp in the string. It's looping. Okay. All right. Three, two, one. Okay. I think the problem's solved. Apologies. Lots of tabs, but lots of capabilities for learning it. Nope. I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. Anyway. So we are about to wrap it up here, folks. Thanks very much for being here, and we'll do some more talks and interactive and stuff. But I wanted to share. We have. I figured it out. Okay. Sorry about that. I figured it out. No problems. So follow the pill. You can find the document with those theorems, and those should be consistent mathematically. And thanks very much for being here. Take care, everybody. Good night.
As above, so below. The human being finds himself, or herself, in the middle. There is as much space outside the human, proportionately, as inside. Stars, moons, and planets remind us of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Is there a bigger being walking with all the stars within? Does our thinking affect what goes on outside us and what goes on inside us? I think it does.
This is a donut.
Is it a symbol for something else?